Hey everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my craft room. So we are going to work on our photo folio a little bit further. Yesterday's video we got all of our mats on, so everything is matted, but we need to build a waterfall right here, and this is going to be called the left waterfall, and then we're going to build one right here on the center page, which it will be the middle, and this will be called our center waterfall. And the reason I wanted to clarify that is in the description I want you to know what pieces go where. So let's start out with what we're going to need for the actual base of our waterfall. Now I'm doing this a little bit different because I want to make this where you can slide a picture or a mat behind it for a photo. So this piece right here, and I got my notes. This piece right here is the base, and this is 8.5 by 4 3/4, scored at 1/2 inch and at 8 inches. Yeah, it's 8.5. So yes, this is scored at 1/2 inch and at 8 inches. So, or you can just turn it and do it 1/2 inch on each side, whichever works the best for you. So we're going to build our waterfall on this piece, but we're going to mat it. So let's go ahead and mat it, and I cut this mat for it, and the mat is let's see, this is 7 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually open this up and make it a little easier for it to lay flat, and we are going to go ahead and get some glue, and I'm going to try this one today and see if it's going to run a little bit better than the one yesterday. That seems like it's a lot better. Plenty of glue. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and stick this down, and you just want that little border as even as you can get it all the way around. I'm going to grab my bone folder and just work it out. Had a lot of positive comments. I want to thank each of you for your comments on this folio. Seems like everybody's really enjoying watching this come together. But more than watching, what I really would love to see is, I want to see you make it. So, give it a try. Alright, so this piece is actually going to go into our folio, and I am going to put my top back on my glue so I don't forget. Right there. We are going to position this right on this piece here. So what you're going to do is you're going to butt this up on top of this piece here up to that score line. You don't want to go over that score line, but you just want it to come under it. And then this piece will glue down right here to the bottom. And so we will put that piece in, and then it's going to give you the room to slide a mat, and we'll do one of those in a little while. But the first thing we want to do is build that waterfall. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to build it on here before we actually glue it in. And I think that will make it much easier for you to be able to see exactly what we're doing. Now, what I did is I went ahead and cut all my pieces and scored them, but I'm going to give you these measurements as we go. Like I said, the base for the waterfall, the base itself is 8.5 by 4 3/4. The mat for this is 7 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then you're going to need 5 of the pieces for the waterfall. And your 5 pieces are going to measure 6 this way by 4 1/2, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 4 1/2 inch side. So this is the 4 1/2 inch side. It's going to go into your scoreboard, and you're going to score down on that to make that little top flap. I'm going to lay all of my mats over here out of our way so we can concentrate on what we need to do with these. Now going back to this one, I'm going to go ahead and use some score tape but I'm going to use the thinner. This is probably like the 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to put a piece right here at the bottom. And let's see, what did I do? Here it is. I'm going to tear that off right there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just like this. And we are going to put some more glitter glue over that, but I just want this to be very secure, because these pieces are going to get moved up and down quite a bit. Let's see if we can go with a little bit. Let's see if this one will work. I think this will fit on there. Yeah, this one I believe is like 3/8 of an inch, so I believe this will work. So let's try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over as far to the edge as I can. And remember what I told you about working your tape a little bit at a time, and that will definitely help you keep it nice and straight and make it much easier on your project too. So let's do this one. We should have, I'm missing 1 or 2. Okay, that's the small ones. Okay, yeah, we have 4 of these. I might have to cut 1 more, but let's go ahead and get the tape on these first, and then we'll see. What we'll do, we'll build the waterfall up, and if we need 1 more, we can cut it at that point. But for right now, we're just going to go with this. Yeah, and this 3/8 inch score tape is exactly what you need for your 1/2 inch little flat pieces that will glue down like that. That will work perfect, and that's always good. So this video is going to be a little later going up because I had to go get my hair cut this morning, and my girl was running a little bit behind, and so I was later getting out of there, and I still had to come home and do some prep work before I could actually start recording. So anyway, there's our 4 pieces, and like I said, I think we're going to need 5, but that's okay. We're going to start here at the bottom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right at the bottom of the mat, just like that. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and put on our paper, and I think I'm going to use this one. Here. Now when you're putting these down, you want to keep that little bordered edge around there. Press it down and then burnish it down to get that glue worked out. Okay, and that's going to give us our very first one, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and build the rest of these. We needed all the pieces for our waterfall, so now what we need to do is go ahead and get them adhered. And I am going to start with this piece, and like I said, I'm going to line this up even with my bottom, and that's the way I want these to lay. Some people build their waterfall from the top down. I like to build mine from the bottom up, and there's always a method to my madness. So this is just one of the ways that I find it much easier to build a waterfall. So you do what works for you. Try different techniques and find out what your preference is, and then go with that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove this backer to the double-sided tape, and I am going to add my same fashion, I'm going to put some art glitter glue on it. And this bottle's just about empty. Sorry, my puppies are showing themselves as usual. They're like having two 2-year-olds because they both want the same toy at the same time. And my little girl will sit and whine until she gets her way. My husband says that's a typical female, but anyway, I'm going to press that down really good. Get that. So important to get that first piece nice and straight because everything else is going to go from there. So that's looking really good. So now we're going to take the next piece, and I thought I had glued these all on, but I was missing one. So let's do this one real quick. I'm just going to run some ATG around the edge. A piece across the middle. And then we're going to bring this up. And you have to be very careful in putting this down so you get it good and even. Now it's off a little bit, but you know, it's on there. So we're just going to go with it. Hey everybody, I am sorry that I'm having to do a voiceover on this portion of the video, but bear with me. I will have the audio back shortly, but until then, I was having some major difficulties with my art glitter glue, and I had to get up and go and clean my tip. And when I came back, evidently I did not turn my mic back on, so therefore I'm going to finish the rest of this video with the voiceover, or at least the next few clips. So what we're doing here is we're still building our waterfall, and I've got my glue on my little connecting piece, and I'm just going to lay this down and butt it up against the last piece that we put on. And you just want to make sure you get these as even as possible, and just you know, be very careful to get those edges even, and use your bone folder like you just saw me do, and press that down really good. And you see how crucial it is to make sure that you're getting these pieces lined up, because if one gets off, it's going to throw the next one off, and so forth. And you don't want your waterfall to look that way. So we're just going to continue. And I used some sticky tape here, and it was hanging over the edge, so I just used my finger and kind of rolled it back onto itself. And then I'm putting a little art glitter glue over top of it. I like using both the two-sided sticky tape as well as the art glitter glue, especially when I'm making a project like this that's going to take a lot of wear and tear. This kind of gives you a double dose of adhesive, and that's never a bad thing, especially with a project like this. So we're coming along, and I think we're going to be able to get one more piece on here. So looking at this, I do believe that we are going to be good with having 4 of the waterfall pieces. I don't think we're going to need that 5th piece at all. I think this is going to be good. And I did not mat the backs of my pieces, as you can see, but you can always go back and mat the other side. You might want to wait until you get ready to put pictures in it, and then sometimes you want your mat around your picture to be a certain color to help bring out the colors in your photo. So that's always something to think about. So, okay, we're just going to take and very carefully lay this one down, and just making sure we get it nice and even, and then press that glue down. And that bone folder comes in so handy right there at that point. Okay, so we have got this completely ready now, and as you can see, it's a nice even waterfall that's going to be beautiful inside of our photo folio. So the next thing that we need to do is go ahead and prep this and get it ready to go into our book. So let me bring that book back over, and we'll see exactly how this is going to look once we put it onto the page. So let's open this up, and oh, I'm forever knocking my art glitter glue over. Good thing I grabbed it. So seems like today my art glitter glue was just giving me a problem all the way around. So but I finally did get the fine metal tip cleaned off and cleaned out, and it seems to be working good now. So let me keep that pin in it. All right, we're going to open this up, and here on this middle section, we are going to glue down this entire base with our waterfall already built on it. It'll be a very simple process because all we're going to have to do is pull off our sticky tape, and then we will put down some art glitter glue. If you notice, I used a little thinner piece of tape right here, so I definitely want to get a good dose of glue to make sure this does stick very well. So we're going to go ahead and put a good amount on here, and then what we need to do is we're just going to take that up, and got a little bit of glue there. That's okay. It's wiped off easily. So you just want to take this to that score line at the top. You never want to go over that score line, but just right up to it. If you go over it, then your pieces are not going to fold down onto themselves like they need to. So check it and make sure, and it does fold. So there, we've got our waterfall in at the top. So now we just need to go down and do the same thing at the bottom, but let's make sure we got this pressed in really good first. And now we're just going to fold this piece back and take our tape off of it. Let me pull that up so you can see what I'm doing. The folio gets so big with all the pieces that fold out and up and from side to side. Sometimes it's hard to get it in the camera, but I do try. So I'm going to put a good amount of glue on this end as well. And then we are going to just bring that back under and just very carefully put it down, making sure it's good and even. And I'm just going to add some pressure from the heel of my hand just to make sure that it is adhered really well. We're going to lift it up and bring that bone folder back over and just varnish it down really well. And as you can see, the folio is definitely coming together. It's a lot of work. If you commit to a project like this is something that it's a little time consuming, but it's so rewarding once you get it finished. And once I get my pictures and everything in here, I think I'm going to really enjoy this. And that little decorative edge along the bottom looks so cute. So we need to build a pocket on this top portion, and we're also going to build a pocket on that bottom flap that flapped out. And see how nice that looks, and then that lifts up, and then we have these two pieces that flip out. We're going to do an angled pocket right there on that side, and we are definitely getting there with the with all the work that we've put in on this, and it's really coming together. I could not be happier. Okay, so now we need to decide where we're going from here. That's looking very good. It's starting to come together. See how pretty it looks from the top. Nice substantial feel to it. And the fun part's going to come in the decorating and getting all the little embellishments on it. And I can't wait to see the completed project. Now we do still need to build a waterfall on that left side. So let's see, we have our other pieces cut for that. So this is our base for our waterfall. And this waterfall, the left waterfall, the base is 8.5 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score that at 1/2 and 8. And we're going to mat it. Now I'm piecing my pieces here, but if you wanted to, you could use a mat at 8 1/4 by 4, and that would work too. But I wanted to use that little piece of that looks like bubbles, and then I thought it would be a nice contrast to that to have those other pieces over it. So if you need to piece your paper like I did, don't be afraid to do that, because it will work. So I think what I'm going to do is move some stuff out of my way and grab my notes so I can be sure to tell you exactly what the measurements are and exactly how we're planning on doing this. So there we go. I'm giving you those measurements. All right, so now we've got our measurements and everything, so we can go ahead and start gluing down our mat onto our base. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lay my sticky tape down on our 1/2 inch tab. I think that would make it easier to go ahead and put that tape down first, and then you don't have that extra bulk. So I'm going to go ahead and lay a piece of tape down on this area at the bottom, and then I'm going to go up and put another piece at the top. Then we're going to be ready to go ahead and put our mat on. And like I said, I did piece this mat, but I liked the way it looked. I really liked the pieced look. I know I like to do this on cards a lot, and I thought, why not do it in a photo folio? You know, everything kind of goes back to our card making, so don't be afraid to try some of your techniques that you do when you're making cards onto your into your scrapbooking or your mini albums or whatever else it is that you do, because it's all paper crafting, and what works on one project can very easily work on another. And as we go, we learn these techniques, and that's my hope in bringing you videos like this, that you would be able to learn different techniques and different styles. And not everybody has the same style, and that's okay. We all learn from one another, and that's the beautiful thing about crafting. And I learn every day. I learn from y'all. I hope you learn from me. I learn from other crafters. So we got that piece already glued down, so now I'm going to take this little strip, and I'm going to bring this right down to my bottom edge, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. And then this little piece with the little smaller bubbles is going to go right in between, just to kind of buffer that edge, and this should work really good. Get a good amount of glue on this. Anytime you're dealing with an area that's raised up on, you know, from one edge to the other, you want to make sure that you put down a little extra glue, because it does have that little rigid area to live on top of. So some extra glue will never hurt. So let's go ahead and get that rubbed down really good. And now see how cute that's going to look there? I really do like that. And even though I don't think anybody would ever think that I ran out of paper, they'll think it was just the way that I decorated it. And that's, again, that's what makes crafting so much fun, is that you can take your pieces and do so much with them. Well, there goes my glue misbehaving once again. But I think this was my arrow, because I did not have my top on tight. I think when I took it off earlier, I did not screw it back down tight enough. So give me just a second and let me clean this out, and we should be back in business. We always run into little mishaps like that. Maybe the glue doesn't work, or we can get very frustrated sometimes. But you know, the most important thing is to come back and try again. And that's what we're doing right here. So now we got that piece all glued down. and that's looking really good. I find it so much easier when I'm crafting to actually talk to you as I'm doing it than I do doing the voiceovers. I think it just comes more natural to do it as we're talking, talk as we're doing it, because that way I feel like I'm actually teaching. And when I go back and watch it and do a voiceover, I have to anticipate what I'm going to do next. And sometimes that's hard, especially when the video is running, rather long. But I think what I'm going to do with this particular video, I'm going to break it down. So maybe after I finish this waterfall, I will complete this phase of it, and then I will upload the rest of it tomorrow. And I think that that would be a good stopping point for us. And we'll come back tomorrow after we get this one built. But now, as you can see, this is going to be built the same way as the other one. The only difference is this one is a little smaller, and our pieces are a lot smaller. And you will see that as soon as we start building the waterfall on here. So I think I'm telling you, if you wanted to decorate it like this, you would need to measure it to a certain point. But just, you can go by the size that I gave you earlier, and then if you want to, you can cut your piece shorter and then add some strips to the bottom. Very easy to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can build this part of the waterfall. So I've got my pieces all cut, and let's see. I want to give you these measurements. So let's stop right here. So as you can see, that we'll need 5 pieces, 4 1/4 by 3 inches, and you'll need to score those at a 1/2 inch on the 3-inch side. And then we're just going to put down our double-sided tape on that 1/2 inch score line, and from there we will be able to mat these and get our waterfall built. Now that we have our waterfall pieces completely done, matted, and ready to go down, we are going to decide which ones we want to go where. So let me cover my glue up and see if we can keep that from getting clumpy on us again. But I'm looking very forward to working this waterfall. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a smaller waterfall, but it'd be great for those smaller pictures that you would want to display. So we're going to start right down here at the bottom, and I'm going to decide I want to make sure that that is pushed back where it needs to be. I got a little bit of a hangover there, so I think I'm going to grab my scissors, and I am just going to trim that off ever so slightly. So what had happened, I got my paper just over top of that edge just a little bit, and that was not what I wanted to do, so we'll just trim that off. And that's much better. You can see it was just a tiny piece, but enough that we didn't need that hanging over. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and start building this, and you want to make sure you get it even on your page. And I'm just going to pull off these backers, and we'll start building this from the bottom up. And I think this is going to be a really cute little waterfall. So let's go ahead and put some glue down. And so much of this is so repetitious, so if you do one piece, you can pretty much know how to do the rest of it. So let's line up that bottom. I'm going to tuck that piece under so it's not distracting me. And just hold it there with one finger. And then use your other hand to kind of pull that piece under. And then just press it down. I am trying my best to keep my glue as moist as I can because I have had just a nightmare with my glue, and I have cut out quite a bit of where I had glue mishaps, and it all was due to me having a I guess the fine metal tip was clogged, and it was clogged really bad. And I had cleaned. Alright, we hit some little bumps in the road with our video, but I'm going to have to go back and voice over a portion of the video. I thought my mic was on and it wasn't. And also, there was one section where I thought the camera was recording and it wasn't. So everything went so smoothly with my part 1 and part 2 of this folio. I do apologize greatly for the blunders that have happened, but we did get our waterfall in, and all I did was glued this in. So I took and glued this piece up here, and I think y'all watched me do that one. And this one was very much the same. I just moved it over because I wanted to have room to slide a mat up under here for a photo. So the next thing that I wanted to do before we move any further and build some pockets and stuff, on this little envelope, if you have a 3/4 inch punch like this, it's just a small circle. If you don't, you can just take a little small something like maybe your glue bottle and sit it there, draw around it, and then take your scissors and cut that out. What we're going to do is we're just going to punch on the front side, so you only want to go in to the front. And I'm going to go in about halfway, just enough, and I want to center it as best I can, about like that. And we're just going to punch that out. That's going to give us a nice little tab here where you can get into this envelope if you have stuff in here. So that's the next thing that we need to do on here. What else that I want to do is I want to build a pocket here, or I'm thinking because we have some room under here, maybe we could do another flip out that would go this way. That would give us some space to put some stuff on. So let me think on that, and then we will come back to that. We need to do a little photo mat for under here and one for under here, and I'll show you how to do that, and that will be our next step. So let me move my folio over here, and I'm just going to measure. And I'll have this measurement in the description for you, as well as on the screen. But we're going to need a piece that is about 6.5, and it doesn't matter the width. So let's do 6.5 by about, I wonder if we can get a 7-inch piece under there. Let's see. Let me see if I have a piece that is about 7 inches, and we'll see if we can slide that in there. Let's see. Here's a piece. Let's measure this to 7. I would love to do a 5x7. That way you would be able to put a 5x7 picture back there. If you were showcasing your children's school pictures or something like that, this would be a great place to put one of those 5x7s. So I think this would be 7. I'm not going to cut this because I want to be able to use this strip, but I do want to just bend it enough to see if that would fit, and it does. So we're going to do this at 5.5. We're going to do it at, let's do it 7 by 5 3/4. So let's go ahead and cut that piece. And I'm going to go back to my slate cardstock, and I'm going to pull another piece out. And let's cut this down, and then we're going to do something real pretty with it. Let's do a 5 by 7. So let's go 5 this way. this way. Alright. We're going to do another one too, but for right this minute, bringing my scraps over, y'all. I have got bukus of scraps on here, but I need a larger piece of paper. I'm going to lay these scraps right here beside of me. Maybe I need to dig my phone out from under all that. So, let's see. You know, like I told you, do not throw out your little scraps because you may be able to go back and use these as decorative pieces. And we definitely want to make every use of our paper pack that we possibly can. Now this is pretty and we have not used this. Now we know this is 5 by 7, so I want to mat this at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that piece is pretty, so is this. I think, looking under this waterfall, I think I like this because I really want something that's going to pop under there. So I think I'm going to go with that piece. So moving that out of our way again. Let's get a trimmer up here. And I made up my mind that next time when I start a project, I'm going to go ahead and cut the registration strips off of my paper prior to starting. I just think that that would be a better thing to do, for me anyway. So let's cut this to 4 3/4. So 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then we are just going to put this on. I think I'm going to round my corners on this. And I'm just going to use my little 1-inch corner rounder because I think that's going to look really good with the rounded corners. Oops. Anytime you're using a corner rounder, make sure you get your piece all the way down in there. I usually like to turn mine over so I can see where it's cutting. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with this piece. Now this one is ready to go on here, and I think that's just giving it a little bit more interest, so let's go ahead and glue this down. And you know, either side of this paper would have been pretty, but we're going to use the other side of it on something else in just a little bit. I want to make sure I'm getting this on here with that even border. I got ink on my work surface already this morning. I got my bone folder, and I'm just going to press this down really good. Just iron that glue. That's what we're doing. We want to press all the wrinkles out of our glue. And now we have a nice little mat that will hold a 5 by 7 picture, and that will easily tuck under here, just like that. And you can leave it out. And if you wanted to, you even have room to put another one over here. I want to do the same thing here, but I don't want that one to be quite as big, and I may do 2 small ones. So let's look at the scrap and see what we have. Let's see, I have a couple of pieces like that. So let's measure this and see what the middle of this would be. This looks like it's 8.5. So we're going to cut this at 4 1/4, and that would be in half. I'm going to make a couple of smaller picture holders. So 4 1/4. Now we need to get some pretty paper to mat on this. And like I said, you know, this is how you really want to use up those scraps. Look at this. We have this pink, and we have the floral. I think I'm going to do this with the pink. And we have another piece here, and I think we'll do this one with this. So, we know this is 4 1/4 by 4. Okay, 4 1/4 by 4. So I want this to be 4 by 3 3/4. So that fits that way. So we just need to cut it off this way, and we're going to cut it at 4. That makes it pretty easy to get those on there. So cut this down at 4. And then cut this one down to 4. And we have these mats done. And I am going to do a little decorative edge on these, just on the mats. And I think I'm going to go back and use the same one. I really did like the way this looked. And you know, some of our little smaller pictures, this will be great for. Get that back in there. I just think this will look really pretty with these corners decorated. And, you know, if you wanted to go through the trouble, you could put white behind that, just by gluing some little white pieces back there. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I want this just to sit on here like this. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go ahead and punch out the corners. You know, like I told you earlier, it's in the details of what you make. The little small details, something like this, even just rounding your corners. You know, it can make a big difference in. And that one's not letting it go in there. I think it's got too much stuff in there. Yep. There, that's much better. Okay, I'm going to see if I can clean that out so we're not putting it away with stuff in it. And I'm just going to push everything over here because I will clean all this up after we finish our project. Oh yeah, look at that pink on that slate. Isn't that gorgeous? So let's go ahead and glue these down. This has been such a fun project. I have enjoyed every minute of doing these folios, and or this particular folio. And there's all different styles, so I may come back and we'll maybe work on a different style at sometime in the future. It seems like a lot of you really did like this, and I like to bring y'all projects that you enjoy, that you would want to make. You know, a lot of times I think we get burnt out with just doing a card. Not to say I don't love a pretty card, because, you know, That was my my whole mindset when I started my channel. I wanted to be able to bring y'all different types of cards and things like that. Now we're gonna do something on the other side too. I don't want this to be a one-trick pony, so to speak. So we're gonna put a mat on that side as well. So let me go ahead and, let's see, I want this one to go like so. So I'm going to dab a little glue up on these corners first. And then we're just going to put this on here. Oh, I meant to do that on the other side. Oh well, we've already put the glue on it, so we're not going to cry over spilt milk or the wrong side. We'll just go with that. Not a big deal at all. It's still pretty paper, and that's what we want. Alright, so I'm going to turn these over like this. And let's see if we can find some other interest. Something like that. And maybe this piece right here that we bent. I think we can use that. And this piece is 4. So let's just cut a piece of this off at 4. Oops, and that moved on me. Did y'all see that move? Which means I probably did not get an even cut. So, not a biggie. I just slid it back in there and cut that little edge off. Now this one I'm going to put across this way, and this one I'm going to put this way. And the reason for that is because of the direction of the print on here. Not that it's really going to matter because, you know, you're going to be putting a picture over top of this. But let's glue this down. And let's glue this one down. Just like that. And now these are ready to go into our folio. You know what I'm most excited about is getting into those stickers and maybe some die cuts and decorating the decorating it up with some stickers and stuff. I think that's going to be so much fun. Alright, we're going to put this one right here and this one right here. Just like that. And then we need to do a pocket or something here. So let's decide how we want to do a pocket. I think I'm going to do it with this piece here. And I think what I want to do is I want to score. I want it to be a gusset so that we can put some tags or something down in there. So let's do a gusset on this, and I will show y'all how to do that. Some of you that are seasoned, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to score on 3 sides of this at 1/2 inch. Score on this side. The reason I'm scoring on this side, we got a little white down here, so I'm going to score that side right there. Is going to be the side that is going to fold under, so it will not be seen. So 1/2 inch. I'm going to turn it and do 1/2 inch. going to turn it this way and do a 1/2 inch. The only place that you want to leave open is the top. So I don't know if you can see my score lines, probably not, but it's definitely scored. So I'm going to put it in this way and score another 1/2 inch. So now we can fold these under. Let's get this out of the way, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So just take and fold all of your score lines, just like that. And here, and here. There. Now what we're going to want to do is miter these little ends off. So I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. It doesn't matter. You just want a sharp pair. And right where those lines intersect, and I don't know if you can see it on here, but right there where that line, where the score lines intersect, you want to take and cut that off. Not cutting that edge. You want to leave just a little bit, just like that. And you're going to do that on the other side as well, just on the bottom. And then when you fold this up, it's going to give you a nice, I need to cut this one just a little bit more. When you fold that up now, it's going to give you this nice little edging where these pieces will go together. We're going to run glue along here, and then we'll put this in, and that will make a cute little pocket. But before we do that, I'm going to use my little 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on that envelope pocket. I am going to make a little holder for you to be able to pull stuff out. So let's bring this back over, and I've got scraps of paper everywhere, y'all. Oh, I have definitely made a mess in putting this little book together for everybody, but I want this to live right about here, maybe down a hair. Maybe we'll go to here. That way you'll see it, and we got room to let stuff stick up out of it. So yeah, let's put it right there. So I'm just going to use art glitter glue for this. You can use your two-sided tape, but you know art glitter glue will work just as good. And now that mine is flowing good again, all is right in the world. I always need my art glitter glue to work for me. I don't like it when I can't get my glue out of the bottle. That's just not a good thing. So I'm going to put that right about there. I'll pull this over, making sure y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think this is so cute, and like I said, we'll make a tag or something to go in there. I want to do something on this as well, and I think on this we want to put something in here. So let's make a couple tags out of this. I think this would easily make tags. I know we can get one tag out of that. And here's another piece. This is why I said hang on to your scraps, because you will want to use them. So I'm going to use these two, and let's make a couple of tags. And I know y'all all know how to make tags, so I'm not gonna tarry on how I'm doing this. I am going to grab my angle punch. This is my crocodile. And this one does a large angle and a small angle. I know you've seen us use these before. I'm going to go with the large. Get that in there and just punch it. And punch it. And then I want to cut this. Let's see. This one is 8.5. So let's do 4 1/4, and we might be able to do I might be able to get 2 out of this. So that's 4 1/4. And let's use our angle punch one more time and do this one. And we're going to punch a hole in those in just a minute. I think this one's good. I'm going to leave this one as is. I'm just going to take off the edges on it. Now, if you want a deeper angle than this, you can definitely use your ruler and measure those out. If you have one of the We Are Memory Keeper tab punch boards, you can use that. But these, I'm not going to, yeah, let's go ahead and punch our hole. I'm going to use this punch. I'm going to set it down and put my, I want to get that about middle way. I'll tell you a good way to do this so that you never mess up on where your hole is. If you will draw a little circle like that and then just kind of color it in, you will actually be able to see that when you push it in. And then you're always going to get I'm going to have to hold this up because it's not working with it sitting flat, which I thought maybe it would. There, perfect every time. So now once you do one, just use it as your template for the rest of them. And then all you got to do is just do your little circle and do the same thing here. And this is just a tip if you struggle with getting your holes lined up like you want them. For me, this works really well, especially if I'm using this particular hole punch. And this is the We Are Memory Keepers multi-hole punch crocodile. And I do like this. It punches so easy. And you never ever get, you know how the other crocodile with the brad setter on it, you always get those pieces that stick in there. These always fall out so well, and I love that. So there, we got our holes punched. Now we'll probably need to put a little bit of baker's twine or something like that in here. And I left my glue open again. I have got to be the world's worst for taking care of their glue bottle, and that's why I have all the problems I have. I'm sure y'all are out there screaming, put the pen back in the glue. Well, at least I hope you are. But evidently I was not hearing you. But anyway. Alright, we got these done, so let's do this one more time. Open it up. Open up our pocket, and we have got 1, 2, and 3. 3 nice little tags that can go right there. Alright, now I want to build a little makeshift card on the front of this. And I want the card to be, you know what I think would look cute? Y'all know that I love the little 3x3 cards. I'm going to do one of those on the front. I make these little 3x3 cards that I send out as my appreciation and thank you notes in my orders when and any of you that has ordered from me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I do little thank you cards similar to this, and I love the way they look. I love the way they turn out. I do them in white and black. And during the holidays, I did more. And I usually try to write a little personal note, because you know your business means so much to me, and I do appreciate y'all so much. So I'm going to cut this at 3, and then I'm going to cut it at 6. And let's score it at 3. Well, we got this up here. You know, I have got such a mess. I really need to clean off some of this stuff because I don't know how y'all are, but a lot of times I just don't work well when I've got a lot of clutter. I like my work area to be somewhat organized. Okay, and now we have this cute little 3x3. Let's go ahead and get that crease down really good. And I have to bring it back over because I have to look at what I've done so I'll know what colors I might want to use. And for this one, I want to punch something out right here, or maybe even do one of the stickers. That would be a great place, or to use one of the cutouts. Let's see what we have. That card's not quite big enough for the cutouts. But let's see if it's good for the, I like this one, always make time for fun. I like that, but I think that needs to be on something a little different in color. So I'm going to lay that over there. And this would be so cute. Check this out. That would be really cute with the clock. So I'm going to lay both of these over here. And I need a little piece of either a navy blue or a black. And let's see if I've got a scrap over here. I always keep my little scrap basket close by. And this looks like it may work perfect. So I'm going to cut this piece down into a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Let's move our little folio one more time. Okay, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. See how wonderful it is to have your little scraps and you don't have to tear into making another page. You can just work it from there. Alright, so what I want to do now is I need to decide if I want to pop these up or just put them down. And I think I'm just going to put them flat down. So check this out. I love the arrows pointing in the way that the rest of the album's going. And then let's go right here. Oops. I want that little clock to come down right to the bottom edge like it's just sitting there. And then we're just going to glue this down on here. And how cute is that? You know, if you struggle with getting your mats even on your projects, your cards or whatever, practice. Practice is the only thing that makes this really come together and become perfect. I used to struggle so much, and now it is like second nature for me to throw a mat on something. Yeah, I still get them crooked a little bit, but you know what? It's alright. I'm wondering if I want to run that through there, if it's going to make it too bulky. Probably will make it too bulky, so I'm going to put this on just like this. This would be a great place to do some journaling if you would like. And we're going to put this right here. I love that. So I'm just going to glue down the very back of the card. I don't know what it is about these little 3x3 cards, but I love them. I think they are so super cute. Okay, just put that in. And now you've got this and this and this, and you've got a place here for a couple of tags. So I'll tell you what, let's cut we don't want it to come any further than that, so let's cut this about 5 1/4. You know, I think I know why my glue clogged up. If you don't keep this pen cleaned off when you are taking it in and out of your, every time you mash it down, you're putting dry ink into the end of your tip. And after much aggravation, I think I found that out. So I just make sure I wipe that pen off in the top of my glue bottle. Yeah, it might be a little bit. Now, if you wanted some deeper corners on your tag, I'm going to show you how to make those, and do it in your trimmer. If you wanted to do, let's say, a 1/2 inch, put the corner of your paper to the 1/2 inch. There's a 1/2 inch. Make sure it's right there, and cut it. Turn it over. Put it to the 1/2 inch. Make sure you're on the 1/2 inch mark right there, and cut it. And then you have your 1/2 inch, which makes it a little bit bigger and a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to bring this out again. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to come down about where I want my circle to be. And I think right here. I said circle, I meant hole. And now this one is ready to go in. This pocket. And you can put as many or as few tags as you like in here. Totally up to you. I would like to thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope to have part 4 up for you tomorrow. It has been recorded, but I had quite a bit of editing to do due to all of the little glitches that I ran into. So as I always say in closing, God bless you always. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please take the time to hit the subscribe button, and it helps me so much in growing my channel and my status with YouTube. Again, God bless. Let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. And I love you until we craft again. Bye-bye.